came into politics, I suppose, for two reasons. One is the political cause in which I believed. I was elected here at the age of 23 in 1983. And at that point, there was a new force in British politics. The SDP had been launched. The alliance between it and the Liberals had fought one general election in 1983, which was my first one. My only footnote, I think, in the history of parliamentary politics, that it would be that I'm the only SDP gain at any general election, because the SDP lost almost all their seats apart from 5, and I was the 6th, the one gain in the proceedings. But the general cause, which is now today called the Liberal Democrats, is still the one that motivates me, and I think that that process, and particularly of constitutional reform, engagement with Europe, proper internationalism through the United Nations, these are the things that still motivate me in the broad political sense, no doubt about that whatsoever. But the second thing is, I happen to be lucky enough, and it was simply, and there's an awful lot of time and chance and luck which determine politics for all of us and for all political parties. It just so happened in 1983 that most unexpectedly I had the opportunity, as a very young candidate, and indeed became the youngest MP at the time, of fighting what was essentially my home area in the Highlands of Scotland. And so it's remained my home area throughout all of my life. And so I'm able to do this rather unusual job while still living in the same house that I've lived in my entire life, and now watching the next generation, our own son growing up there as well as the 4th generation of Donald Kennedys who've lived in that place, although I'm now also the local MP. And I think that I would agree with Anne that across the political spectrum, people underestimate from the outside how important it is to members of whatever party to just make a good job of representing their own area, the area that elects them. And an awful lot of what you deal with as a constituency member isn't essentially party political at all. It's commonsensical, reasonable judgments based on integrity and trust and all the things that people don't think exist in this place that actually make a difference to people. That's all I'll say, apart from saying that I'm delighted about Catch-21 and its origins at the University of Hull, because my one claim to some connection is that my wife Sarah is a graduate of the University of Hull, and I think you may see her name somewhere up in the notice board in the union where she was a vice president or some such in days gone by, although she's a geographer, not a political person. Well, she's been a councillor actually. And like Anne, yes, we can all make one great claim to fame. I got a constituent in my first parliament out of Perth prison in Scotland, where I read his file and his well-argued case, and it seemed to me, in that sort of Inspector Morse hunch that we all have, that we can read the case and spot the flaw, that he couldn't be guilty of one of the drugs charges that he was on. And so it proved to be the case, and I did not have to do anything as dramatic as fly abroad, but just go to Perth prison and then see the Solicitor General for Scotland and various other people, and he was released, and I felt marvellous about that. He was such a generally disreputable character anyway, for other reasons, in his local community, that I'm told in the community that he lived in, I lost every vote in the place at the subsequent general election. So there you are. There's no justice in life.